Have you ever felt like the standard explanations for autism or ADHD just don't tell the whole story? Well, today, we're going to explore a completely different framework. It's a new, and I think much more empathetic way to understand how different minds actually experience the world.
So what if we just shifted our focus for a second? Instead of looking for deficits, what if we looked at the underlying mechanics of attention? That's the big question we're diving into today, and honestly, the answer might just change how you see neurodiversity entirely.
Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page about a really key concept, neurodiversity. It's a simple but powerful idea that there's no single right way for a brain to be wired. Human brains are just different, and that difference is totally natural. It's not a defect. This idea, it's the foundation for everything we're about to cover.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by introducing this new lens, this theory of monotropism. Then we'll dive into what it actually feels like to have a monotropic mind. After that, we'll see how this completely shifts the conversation from deficit to difference, and we'll wrap up with some really practical ways to support a monotropic brain. Ready? Let's go.
All right, let's get right into it. What is monotropism? Well, it's a theory that was actually developed by autistic researchers, people explaining their own real lived experiences, and that is so important because it's a view from the inside looking out, not the other way around.
So in a nutshell, this is it. The theory basically says that the mind is an interest system, and a monotropic mind is one where at any given time you have fewer interests that are activated, but those interests pull in a way bigger share of your attention. It's all about how your mental energy gets divided up.
And that brings us to this really powerful metaphor, the attention tunnel. I want you to imagine your focus isn't like a big, broad floodlight, but more like a super intense spotlight. Inside that tunnel, your perception and engagement can be absolutely incredible. But anything outside of that narrow beam might as well not even exist.
And hey, this isn't just some new idea someone came up with. It's grounded in research that goes all the way back to 2005. The creators of the theory, they argued that we all have a limited amount of attention, right? And the way our minds handle the competition for that attention is what shapes how we think. For monotropic folks, that competition often ends with a winner-takes-all focus.
Now, this is the really crucial part. This is not a negative thing. In fact, this deep focus can lead to these incredible, highly productive flow states. You know that feeling when you're so completely absorbed in what you're doing that time just seems to melt away? That's it. It can be a source of immense creativity, productivity, and just pure joy. Okay, so that's the theory. But let's move from the abstract to reality. What does this deep, tunnel-like attention actually feel like in your day-to-day life?
Researcher Fergus Murray actually breaks it down into these 6 hallmarks. For instance, trying to deal with multiple streams of information at once, like a conversation in a noisy room, can be really hard. Changing tasks can feel super jarring and destabilizing. You often experience things with this incredible intensity, and your mind just keeps circling back to those core interests. And yeah, out of sight, out of mind can be very, very literal.
I absolutely love this metaphor because it's so perfect. Trying to get a monotropic person to abruptly shift their focus isn't like hitting the brakes in a car. It's like trying to come to a dead stop while you're skiing downhill. You just can't do it. You've got to slow down, gently ease to a stop, and mentally prepare for what's next. A sudden change feels like a crash.
And when that crash happens, it can lead to something called a monotopic split. This is what happens when you're forced to suddenly divide your attention. Your brain doesn't just allocate less energy to each task. It tries to keep running at full power on everything at once. And that, as you can imagine, is a fast track to burnout or meltdown. It's a complete system overload. So all of this leads us to a really profound shift in how we see things. It's about moving away from a language of deficits and disorders and toward a language of simple human difference.
Okay, just look at this comparison right here. The old medical model talks about difficulties with social communication and restricted interests, but monotropism theory reframes it completely. Those difficulties become differences in communication, because maybe your attention tunnel is focused on the words being said, not the body language. And restricted interests? No, those are deep, meaningful interest systems. It's the exact same reality, just seen through a much more empowering and, frankly, more accurate lens.
And that's why this shift is so important. It's about seeing the whole person. This complex, vibrant individual with deep passions and amazing strengths.
It's about appreciating the entire unique tree, not just slapping a label on one of its branches.
So the big question is, how do we take this understanding and actually put it into practice? What does real support for a monotropic brain actually look like?
Well, at home, it's all about creating an environment that works with the brain, not against it. That means having safe spaces where someone can dive deep into their interests because that's how they recharge. It means using flexible routines, providing visual aids for tasks that might be outside the attention tunnel, and building in extra cushioning time around transitions. And one of the biggest things, connect with them through those shared interests.
And in the school setting, the same principles apply. Sensory tools like ear defenders can help manage an overwhelming environment. Preparing students for changes is key. Weaving a student's passions into the lesson plan can make learning click in a whole new way. And this one's big, recognizing that a busy, loud break time might not be restful at all. Sometimes what's really needed is a quiet space to recharge the batteries.
I just love this quote because it gets right to the heart of it. We have to let go of this social idea that some interests are better than others. It's the depth of the engagement and the joy that it brings that matters, not what the subject is. Passion is passion, period. And it always, always deserves to be validated.
So when you boil it all down, this is the key takeaway. Monotropism isn't about slapping another label on someone. It's a tool for empathy. It's a practical guide for understanding another person's experience so we can build a world around them that allows them not just to get by, but to truly, genuinely thrive.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Now that you have this lens of monotropism, this idea of the attention tunnel and deep, passionate interests, what do you see differently? What behaviors, maybe in yourself or in others, suddenly make a lot more sense?